Which bit did it?
Where'd the show go?
All right, this hangout on air is live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brew You episode 37. My name is Jeremy Johnson, broadcasting live from southwestern Michigan. With me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Justin Leveque.
Who is broadcasting from the beautiful Seattle city today. It is beautiful, and I'd rather be out there, honestly.
Yep, me too. Looks like we're having the exact same weather, so let's not talk about the weather.
Well, the thing is there's the Solstice parade down the street that's going on in the next hour, and it's the nude bike ride. That's why I'd
yes,
rather be down there.
we'll try to finish this up for you pretty quick. So
Yeah, because I have standards, and
yeah.
I have needs.
Well, I know you're going to be riding this year, so
Oh, of course.
yeah, of course. All right. Well, today we will be reviewing two brand new beers that I'm really super excited about. I will be reviewing what I've wanted to drink for quite a while now, the Iron Maiden beer. You can see it at ironmaidenbeer.com. This is called Trooper, and it's actually essentially concocted by Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer, and brewed by Robinson's Brewery. So, Dickinson.
I put my pants on one leg at a time.
That's right, baby. That's right. It's a premium British beer, clocks in at only 4.7%, so I'm real curious to try it.
But when I put my pants on, I make gold records. I'm Bruce Dickinson.
I'm Bruce Dickinson. And what have you been drinking today?
I'm doing the Tritical from Stone Stochasticity Project. I can't even pronounce it.
Yeah, it's a stochasticity.
Stochasticity, but a Belgian-style quadruple ale brewed with Tritical grain.
Right. So it's sort of a Tritical is a sort of substitute for hops and that sort of thing. So
that's what's in turkey too, isn't it? That makes you sleepy.
I think so. Yeah, it's you shouldn't have too much Tritical after a Thanksgiving dinner. So.
Also, everybody noticed that I am in HD. I finally have.
You actually just sort of dropped slightly, so hopefully it'll hang on. Hang on. All right, so let's get this puppy rolling. Let's crack it open, see what happens.
Sounds good.
What's the worst that could happen, buddy? Might explode.
Ooh. Well.
Oop. As I drop water all over my keyboard.
I was just thinking about that, actually.
Yeah, I've got too much condensation here. It's about 74 inside. So. Oh my God, that is beautiful.
There we go. I couldn't see my own
Yours
camera.
and mine.
It's a amber ruby kind of color, one finger head, very carbonated. It's very pretty.
That is beautiful.
And I finally have some, some beerware, so.
Very nice. I've got a almost a two-finger head here going on. Very amber, sort of golden color. A little bit of carbonation flowing up, but not much actually. It's kind of almost a standard English beer or English bitter. You can see that. It's quite pretty. What are you getting on the nose?
It's very candied, sugary. Kind of very dried fruit, kind of cranberry-ish.
So cranberry, so probably bitter.
A little bit bitter, yep. You get that nice dried, like earthy fruit smell.
Well, I'm getting bread and yeast. A little bit of a tickle of very traditional English ale stuff. Just kind of sweet, light malt. Smells really good. It smells like just any of the traditional John Courage. Maybe a little bit of Bass, that sort of thing.
Okay, I gotcha.
But very yeasty, very bready. I kind of like those aspects. That came out right off the top. The head's kind of gone down a little bit. It's very foamy. It's got nice little bubbles on the top there. You can sort of see. Get a little bit of lacing as you go around.
And
Falls
mine's
down pretty quick.
still carbonated. The head's gone down, but you can still see all the, well, possibly see all the bubbles that are still coming off of it. You can tell, but
Yep.
and I'm getting that. It smells. Sounds funny to say it like this, but it smells like the taste from a sugary dried fruit, like that very candied kind of tartness. It smells delicious. Oh,
Very
almost
cool.
here.
Well, let's dig into it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Mm. Wow. Well, this is classic British ale. God, it reminds me so much of John Courage. It's just got a real nice creamy mouthfeel. Despite the 4.7, it feels relatively full-bodied. Very yeasty, very dry. Dissipates really quickly. Yeah, those are my first impressions.
Mm. Oh, second, this is delicious. It's very it's extremely smooth, like very creamy, very actually more so than I expected for having a kind of like the fruity aspect from it. I thought it'd be more acidic, but it's getting a bit of a malt back to it. It's got like it comes on very dried fruit, more like a not cranberry, but like a maybe like a raisin kind of flavor. It's very sugary, candyish. Um, and then at the end, it starts to get a little bit of the acidity from the fruit. Like so, it's got a kind of like a little kick of spice at the end.
Hmm.
But
What's the ABV on that?
9.3.
Oh, nice. So it's sort of in DIPA territory.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a bee trapped in the room with me. Wonderful. With a nice candied,
Yeah, they're attracted to
sugary
sweet
drink
stuff.
beer.
Hmm. All right. Mm. This is so good. It's just has a real sort of almost like sourdough aspect to it. Not like a sour beer, but actually the sourdough bread. It
Right.
just has just a very creamy, full mouthfeel. It's definitely one of the better. Because I think John Courage actually clocks in a little bit higher ABV, so it kind of tends to be a little sweeter and stickier as time goes on and as it warms up. But this, hey, what's that bounding sound? But this actually has a really nice. Um, it sort of dissipates. It's got that aftertaste, that sort of uh, thin malt with bread aspects. It's almost like just eating a nice um, piece of sourdough bread with just in beer form. I mean, it's so delicious. I mean, it's I will say it's not my favorite style. I don't really care for English. I do like ESB and sort of bitters, but this sort of tends more towards the ale aspect or lager aspect. So you get those sort of lagery overtones. But I really like the bread part of it. That the yeast just really comes out full, and to find that sort of in a bottle that I kind of thought was going to be a gimmick.
Yeah, I
You
was
know,
gonna ask about it. It's kind of goofy looking. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's basically
guess I can't
the
really talk though. Mine just doesn't have a. Mine's just not colored. Actually, looks
well,
just like that, just not colored.
it does sort of. I thought it was going to be just a gimmicky thing, almost like I thought Monty Python's Holy Grail Ale was going to be sort of gimmicky, and it's not. It's just a very nice, solid English beer, and this falls right in the same the same ballpark. But it's got the added allure, I guess, if you're a big Iron Maiden fan, which I wouldn't say a big fan, but I like them a lot, and I think they do good work. Um, it just sort of makes sense, and it's quite delicious. I would drink this no problem on a summer day, just like today. It's summer. Happy summer.
Oh yeah, happy summer. Happy solstice
Hmm.
again. As exciting as that is, and I'm not going to go outside and enjoy it.
Right. Well, you are after this, but it's the
I'm actually
apex,
probably
right?
not going to. I'm probably going to go and find something to eat, but outside of that, I have some ESBs sitting here as well, so
Oof. Well, you should get out. Should out. I mean, go out and see the bike ride. Obviously, you want to do that.
so much
Eh,
work, and it's across
eh.
town, and it's a whole like mile and a half away. Which is how
Yeah.
far,
Oh.
incidentally, I walked to go get this morning. Yeah, I love being the alcoholic on Saturday morning that walks into the place that opens up at like 10 o'clock. I'm like, the doors are opening. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I just need a beer. No
Dude,
big
you're
deal.
you're just committed. That's all. You're just committed.
I am committed. I should have bought my beer last night, actually, but
Eh.
um, I am really close to another Bevmo. So there's one in Northgate where I work, and then there's one here in Ballard. And Bevmo has um, I had all the four varieties of this series,
Yeah.
as well as their selection is very wide ranging, and they have a
Yeah.
bunch of really great individual bottles. I'm excited to go back there and check out more. Really,
Yeah.
it just
That
makes it
that
more
sounds
difficult
pretty
when
cool.
you're in and out.
Yeah, I wish we had one out this way or something similar. I mean, we have to rely on our distributors and the little party stores and whatnot. But I would love to have something like even the one that's in Chicago, which I can't think of the name right now, but that huge booze superstore, they don't carry every beer. We
So like
really
the
need like
World
what's
of
that?
Beer,
Yeah, yeah, we need like a superstore full of beer. Just
right?
like every freaking variety imported in or something. I mean, we got
Fair
some
enough.
good stuff, but I can't find. I've only found the Grapefruit Slam IPA out this way so far. I know we're gonna get that one you're drinking right now, probably next Wednesday. It'll hit because there's a rotation that the distributor picks it up after a certain amount of time.
Right.
But anyways,
I'll have to hop down there and get the. I forget what the other style is. Grapefruit Slam I've had on draft and I've had it out of bottle here. I find it's pretty common now, and it's delicious. I think we both reviewed it on the show actually.
hmm yeah, it is. I love it.
Yeah, it's a solid beer.
Yep. So, any additional thoughts on yours?
Yep. Um, it's really interesting because it has this very it's very sugary and it's very like dried fruit characteristics, but it's also got this great the warmer it's getting, it's picking up some sour qualities, which is wasn't I wasn't quite expecting from it, but it's making it even like I guess I should have I did throw this in the freezer for a few minutes to warm it up or to get it colder, and now it's getting to that right temperature, and it's bringing out a little bit more of the yeast. So it's actually you were talking about the sourdough, and I'm picking up a lot of that now, which is excellent as well. So.
Very good. Yeah, I would expect that because it's a Belgian
Correct.
quad, so I would expect to have taste that just big Belgian yeast component, along with those candied sugars can be just a lot of fun, and then of
Oh,
course the
definitely.
sour too. But
And Stone does it right. I mean, not that we're Stone boys or anything, but
yeah, a
Stone
little
didn't throw it
bit.
out there at some point.
Oh man, I had some
We
of
never
their
have Stone on the show.
Enjoy by at the Buck in town with dinner the other night. We were sitting out on their patio, which is sort of elevated up, overlooking. You can see Lake Michigan in the background there, and they serve them in the little tiny tulip glasses, and just sit there and drink some Enjoy by, which on draft just tastes, I mean, phenomenal. It's the best beer that I've tasted. And I had a Hawaiian burger, and it's like I could have closed my eyes and be in San Diego, no problem.
Oh, that sounds excellent.
Mm.
Uh oh. Did I just lose you? Nope. There we go. Sorry
No,
about
you're good.
that. Yeah, was gonna say, I'm actually gonna go search for some Enjoy By, see if Pine Box has it today. I might do some searching on Untapped or the Find My Beer, the
Hmm.
map that you showed me to see if I can find some.
Yeah, yeah. The
It sounds
Stone
gonna be a
Beer
kind of a
Finder.
beer day, I think. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Go find some on tap and just relax. I mean, it's so nice there right now. I would just find a deck and you know chill out,
I
watch
also,
watch the bikes go by.
yeah, if it's not such a, it's just such a crazy show down there. I really don't love to go down there during it, as fun as it is. It's just packed. It's a madhouse.
Yeah, a little too much schlong for you.
A little too much long for me. Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, let's wrap this up and give our ratings on these beers. One more sip. Mm. Well, this hasn't changed. I mean, this is just phenomenal. If there were hops in here, or at least hops of any sort of substance or quantity, this could easily be extremely solid IPA. Um, as it is, it's not quite a pale ale. You just get that sort of lagery, yeasty, bready component but some really nice bitter aspects that sort of emulate hops, which is just a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying this beer. I like I said, it's not my favorite style of all time, but it's something I wouldn't ever have a problem putting down. I mean, it's really good, and I think it's a lot of fun. I really like the fact that Bruce Dickinson, you know, essentially created this beer and then just had somebody brew it. Robinson's Brewery. I watched their video online and so forth, how they went about doing it, and it's really cool. And I enjoy it as much, if not slightly better than the Monty Python Holy Grail Ale. I haven't. I think I might have tried their Dark Night Ale, but I can't quite recall. Um, anyways, it's really good. I would highly recommend it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because the style is not my favorite, but I think otherwise it's just an excellent beer. I think it's just excellent.
It's good to hear. And where's their dish? Like, where are they out of again?
It's out of England. Robinson's Brewery is in, what did they say, Shelton, I think.
I'm just wondering if they
Um,
have distribution out here.
well, they do say they have Cascade hops in here, so
Oh,
it's just maybe that's what's providing the sort of rough characteristic and dryness. Um, yeah, it's phenomenal. Let's see, it's imported by Austin, Texas, but I believe that they said like Shelton, England, is who brews it. So, but you can find it any place. It's very widely distributed. Um, so you shouldn't have any problem picking it up. And I don't believe it was that expensive either. I think it was maybe $6.99 for that bottle.
it's not bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent size. It's not quite the same size as yours there, but
Right.
it's a pretty nice bottle. So yeah, 8 out of 10.
Oh, nice. Well, final thoughts. It's a big Belgian, yeasty, candied, sugared, dried, fruity, bold, smooth, very creamy, which is making it go down way too easy, actually. And at 9.3, it's not something we're necessarily going to want to not take my time with. But it's exactly what I would expect from Stone, and it's a solid beer, so I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10.
Beautiful.
It is good. It's just good.
It's probably just getting better.
It is just getting better. So, mm.
All right, well, that'll wrap it up for the beer portion of our show. Again, I gave Iron Maiden's Trooper an 8 out of 10. I think it's quite good.
And I gave Stone's Quadro Triticale a 9 out of 10.
Sweet. Okay, join us next time. Actually, Justin is on his way back to Michigan, so we're hoping to
I
do
am
next weekend. Hopefully, we'll be able to powwow and do a live show together. That would be
a
a lot of
very
fun.
special Brew You from the heart.
From the heart. And actually, it will probably feature a beer by one of our friends. A homebrew.
Dun, dun. Oh, we don't have. Where's the music box when you need it?
So
Next time on
yeah, so make
Brew
sure you
You.
tune in. That'll be hopefully next weekend. We'll figure out what date and time, and post that in advance. But in the next until next time, drink more beer and
Brew You.
bro you brother. All
You,
right.
brother.
So that'll do it for
Man.
the beer portion of the show. Stick around if you want to
Whoa!
chat with us.
Whoa!
So
Was my
that's
camera actually focusing on something other than my face? Nope. It just
do you,
loves me.
do you have autofocus or is it
I don't know.
fixed?
I don't think so.
No.
I'd assume so. Kind of.
Yeah, it
Nope.
doesn't look like it's doing much.
It's a
Yeah,
Mac.
mine. It's the stupid Logitech cam, which I hate the Logitech brand, and it'll go, but it's not very consistent. See how it just sort of kicks? Like there,
Yeah,
it's
it's kind of
okay.
hits all those little parts. Yep.
Yeah, but like as soon as you, and then it has trouble even coming back from it. So
Where's your face, sir?
yeah, right. It's like oh, and to do but I still like to do the occasional close up. So I'd rather
Close
not fix it.
up.
I just wish it would work properly. Is the only thing. So.
Someday when we're budgeted, we'll have all those kinds of effects where we can go extreme close up.
That's right. Well, I still want to, I thought about doing the chalkboard as a green screen, but
Yeah.
yeah, I almost did it. Almost, I was this close. It was either by the chalkboard paint or by the green screen paint, the chroma key. But I thought the lighting might be hitting it weird, and I'd have to figure all that part out. I didn't think it would be the best thing. So
Fair enough. Understandable.
yeah. So you see up on my board there, we got the good and evil saison.
Mm-hmm.
So that I checked it this morning, and it looks like the yeast isn't necessarily as lively as I would love it to be. The other ones I did, the key lime, vanilla key lime. Let's see if I can get
Man,
my
you
number
make a
here.
terrible weatherman.
Right, up from the coast, and the
From
rhubarb
here in
grapefruit.
Michigan,
E-
it's over.
Every single one of those beers before the saison, um, I saw really good action. I mean, I almost blew the keg on the soft saison and
Ooh.
the grapefruit and the LBK IPA. All three of those like really went to town. The vanilla key lime actually started spooging out a little bit too, and essentially what happens is it frosts up so much it blocks the air holes, and then the stuff gets all crusty, and essentially there's no oxygen in or out, and you could actually explode the keg, which I did once. Um, but no, thankfully nothing overflowed terribly, just a little bit, and we'll see how some of this came out. But the good and evil saison is just sort of sitting there, which I'm like, it's been warm enough, so it's not temperature. Um, I'm a little worried that the yeast either isn't eating the sugars properly, or they've already chowed down and really didn't produce much. So I'm real curious to see how that's going to turn out. And that's the one that's got the good and evil relish. So
Oh,
it's onions, tomatoes, red pepper, and it's sort of a sweet and hot dip. Like you would mix it up with cream cheese and make a really
right.
nice dip. But instead, I dumped about half of it into the beer, just because I wanted a savory saison rather than a sweet one. And so we'll see if it was total experiment. I have no clue. I won't know until 7/27.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we're really what? Well, actually, no, that's not true. Next Saturday or next Sunday, rather, is when I brew and bottle. So I'll get a taste of what it's like going into the bottles, and we'll see if it actually produced
Ooh,
anything.
so I'll be around for 622.
Yeah, yeah, you'll
That's
the
Sunday.
rhubarb grapefruit saison is ready to drink next weekend. Technically, I actually cracked open the first bottle last night, and it's pretty dang good. And I had a little bit with lunch today too.
Might have to sample that.
It's pretty good. And I've made if you remember, I did the rhubarb
The rhubarb
grapefruit
blast.
pilsner, I think,
Yeah, which
or
was
or
delicious last year.
maybe it was an IPA. I don't really recall. I have to look back at my beer calendar. But this is a saison, so it's a much more sort of like what you're drinking. It's got all that yeasty, nice, summery stuff, and it's so far it's
Which,
really good. I'm happy.
which definitely, we've talked about it before. One of my go-tos is always Red Hook's ESB.
Hmm.
it's one of my favorites, and it always has that yeasty characteristic. And the thing is if I haven't had it for a while, the first beer I have, it kind of hits you pretty hard, and you're like, I kind of forgot what this style tasted like for a minute. And then after you get about halfway through it, you remember exactly why you love it so much. And
Hmm.
that's the way it is like with this beer today, and this kind of style in general. It's like every time it almost seems like it's not desirable, but it really grows on you pretty quick, like
Hmm.
that yeast characteristic.
Yeah, I think that's what differentiates a lot of these beers is if they can get the mouthfeel going. That's really what the yeast does. Is it
Right.
kind of it sort of rounds the edges or maybe twerks the edges in some ways. Like if you get some sour yeast, some sour components,
Right.
that can just be a lot of fun. You get that just weird creamy mouthfeel with bready aspects, and then you think of like sourdough bread and that kind of thing. And yeah, so
Is that
I,
also what
I, I used to drink ESB quite a lot, but I haven't gone back to that style in quite a while.
is that also what contributes to the thickness that you get? Um,
Not necessarily,
like
no.
you feel like the almost because there's some beers like I've not had a lot, but
Mhm.
like what my uncle is brewing, and I'm trying to remember what exactly it is, but it just has a really heavy mouth feel. Like it's almost like you're drinking it's not solidified, but when you drink something that's right after frozen,
Mhm.
but not frozen anymore. So it feels almost like there's a solid component to it, but it's not quite solid. Like
Yeah,
it's just really
I would agree
heavy
with that.
mouthfeel.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I did a chocolate wheat that was a knockoff, a clone of Short's chocolate wheat,
Right.
and the main difference was I added liquid yeast, not the powdered stuff that I have been using. And in this case, it was actually liquid yeast that you put in there, and it like instantaneously started going nuts and eating all the sugars and producing and foaming and bubbling. Like within an hour of adding it to the keg, it would just went nuts. You getting that bee going around you?
Yeah, it started finding out where my beer is apparently.
That's funny.
I'm sorry.
So I can see that totally because the chocolate wheat had a really nice, like just a creamy, sort of that melt in your mouth sort of aspect,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. And
So it does
the
that, I
chocolate that
think.
I've had from not Leinenkugel. My brother bought me a variety pack for Christmas last year of two different breweries, and I'm trying to remember which was. But one of them was a chocolate wheat, and yeah, it definitely had that really thick, like creamy mouthfeel it just seemed really like oddly heavy for a liquid form. Like it seems like like almost like a milkshake, but
Yeah,
yeah, has that
yeah, I,
interesting
I think
quality
that
to
can
it.
do it. But I also think that the malt aspect of it really, when anybody says heavy, I always think, think of Guinness. Some people think
Right.
Guinness is a heavy beer, but in reality, it's not. But it's because it has those sort of caramelized, almost burnt malt characteristics that lends the feeling that it's a heavier, thicker beer. It's
Yeah,
almost
I
like
think I always
tricking you.
see. I think that's where barley wines confuse me, or anything closer to them, because I think of a lot like when I think of malt, I think of actually more acidic, definitely the burnt tones, but I don't think heavy in terms of like the actual physical attribute of like weight. I think
Hmm.
of the heaviness of I feel like it's alcoholic. Like I feel like it's more acidic, like
Right.
closer thicker than it is a beer. Like so when I
Well,
think of like barley wines or anything that's overly malty, I
yeah.
feel like the acidity of that I'm picking up rather than the
Well,
actual.
that's kind of interesting because the barley wines, the big, you know, although malt is a big aspect of it, barley wines for the most part are uh, alcohol levels. That's what really your taste buds and your palate just get inundated with that alcohol, so you sort of hit that wall sooner, and therefore your brain is saying, well, I've hit that ABV wall, so it's a bigger beer. It's a thicker beer. It's a, malt really is the caramel. When you open up a can of malt, literally you can put it on ice cream. Just
Hmm.
just just plain old beer malt that you're going to put in a beer. You can spoon that on ice cream, and it's delicious. All it is sugar, and all caramel is sugar. It is. It has the consistency, smell, and taste of sugar. That's all the malt is.
Hmm.
And so basically it's all of the grains and stuff being caramelized,
Right.
and that contributes to the illusion that there's a heavier mouthfeel, right? Because if you even if it's something like Guinness, which has a very caramely aspect,
Right.
there's
But
not enough of it in there, so a little bit goes a long way. And what they do is they
right.
sort of toast or burn that to accentuate the caramel, so it feels like it has more body. But at 4 point whatever percent,
I was gonna
say
say, yeah,
this,
it feels
it kind
light.
of doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I agree. Like that's always how I felt about Guinness.
Whereas yours right now, what you're drinking is 9.4, and I know you said it goes down smooth, but that's a big beer, and that's,
No, it is.
you know,
It's
I
no,
mean, it must be an incredible
it's
mouthfeel.
hefty. It feels hefty, like,
Yeah.
and this is, I mean, just like we always talk about with going with bigger beers, and like I always look for those big tastes. Like I like sours more often than not these days because it's what one beer that I can always count on that's really gonna make me think about it, and not get kind of drowned out with kind of random flavors. But
Yeah.
yeah, this beer is definitely a big beer, and it is excellent. So,
I was looking at investigating because I really kind of want to expand my repertoire a little bit, which is why I'm trying really weird recipes. But I would love to brew a sour in the Mr. Beer Kit. But unfortunately, part of brewing a sour is you specifically or intentionally, sometimes accidentally, inject or introduce a bad component. So you infect the beer, you infect the yeast with something that's where you get the sort of band-aidy quality. So if
right,
you
which we talk about pretty frequently with those.
yeah, and that's the sure sign of an infection. If you get that sort of band-aid cidery thing, that means it's too young. But essentially, the key component to sours is you age them forever.
Right.
The recommendations I've seen are like basically age it 6 to 8 months before you tap into it. Whereas this is a 6 week thing.
Right.
I
It's
think,
one of
yeah, 6 weeks.
the owners at Pine Box. I had a drink with them a couple months ago.
Mm,
But one of the beers they were introducing was a 2-year-old barrel-aged sour, and that was one of the smoothest, most tart,
yeah,
best balanced sours I've ever had in my life, and it was completely delicious. But once again, it's aged 2 years. I
yeah.
think the selling on that I think that was $16 a bottle for a like an 18-ounce bottle. I think.
Hmm.
I mean,
And you find too that a lot of sours these days, in order to sort of hide the infection band-aidy characteristic,
right,
that they add fruit. So you'll
right,
get a raspberry sour or a
right.
blueberry sour or a cherry sour, and that helps to mask the sort or at least ride alongside the band-aidy characteristics.
I really need to bring you that silly, like bottle of that silly sour that we had on the show a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago. One of the other curses of crazy labels. Remember, because it had the name of the beer is Silly Sour Ale, and it just had the little guy in the front, and it looked just like a cheap beer.
Mhm.
But I think I gave it a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I do bring you a bottle of that. So I don't think they distribute to Michigan. So
Yeah, and if you find any Pliny the Elder,
we'll talk off the show about how to actually transport that, but I would love to bring you because I'm sure I could find one.
yeah, because that was recently voted number one for 5 years running, the best beer by the Home Brewers Association or Zimmergy or whatever it was. The thing that Ian posted just the other day,
Okay.
and Pliny the Elder was number one again. Bell's Two Hearted was number two, I think. which is kind of completely weird because
No,
Bell's Two Hearted is a good beer, but it's not.
it's
It's
Bell's Too
not.
Hearted. It's
It's no Pliny.
no, exactly. It's Bell's Too Hearted.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
had this discussion before. Just it's a good
Exactly.
beer, but
It's a good beer.
when you think of
Absolutely.
everything that you've tried,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
a
in the
little,
grand scheme of things, like right,
it seems a
the
little
best beer.
domesticated for.
Yeah, the best beer I've ever tried, or well, the best beer in my opinion right now is Stones Enjoy By. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't think
every
of
time.
any. Yeah, it's an amazing beer, and I can't. I mean, I would take that over Two Hearted easily every dang time. It's just no contest.
Well, when it comes down to ingredients that are specified to a certain date as well, I mean, that definitely helps.
Hmm.
It's just like when you have any kind of food that expires, like you eat it at its prime, it's gonna taste the best, clearly.
Oh,
And
speaking of
when
which,
you put that,
you saw my post on the rhubarb pickles?
oh yeah, I did see that. Man,
Those are
can we hit reserve when I come to town?
well. I'm not gonna be in up there.
I know, that's why I was like,
Yeah, Alamo Draft House is the place
ah.
that we need to hit.
Well, we'll make plans later on here.
Yeah, yeah. So, but the
Okay,
rhubarb pickles were a
so
complete experiment, and they turned out really nice. So, super happy. Oh yeah, Loot Crate, nice.
so I got June's Loot Crate. So all things nerd and geeky, and of course you had one from Brian
Yep.
last month, 2 months ago.
Hmm.
So I got this awesome Marty McFly Transformer shirt.
Very cool.
Definitely, like so. That's my geekness of the month here. Got this excellent Transformer doll or action figure.
It looks just like Marky Mark.
It does look like Marky Mark. This MLG wristband, which my favorite thing from this box, aside from the sweet sticker, which I can actually make at my shop, come to think of it, is this robot that came with it that vibrates.
Mm.
So apparently this is a game. Um,
Oh. Well, I know there's a game with kaiju that I think you can roll up. Nice.
yeah, so you can do this whole thing. Yeah, clearly exciting. That was the highlight of this box, I think.
Well, toys of any kind. Come on.
I know. I'm considering. I just did a 1 month, the 1 month trial, whatever,
Yeah.
to see what it looked
How,
like,
how
and
much is it, by the way?
it's $20 a month.
Okay. Not
So
bad.
that's $7 shipping, and then it's like $13 for everything else that's in it. But when you consider the price of a T-shirt, the shirt alone is $20.
Yep.
So I mean, what you actually get versus the cost is
Yeah.
uh,
Phenomenal.
the whole idea behind it is you get a couple $100 worth of gear that's bulk priced, so you get it for $20. So,
Very cool.
yeah,
Well, I too have a little bit of geekdom to show you.
I was hoping so. We have a lot to catch up on. We were off for a couple weeks.
I picked this up not too long ago. This is the book written by Mitch Steele. You can see it at the bottom. He is the brewmaster at Stone, and you're drinking his beer particularly. He
Whoa.
actually he created the beer that you're drinking uh, for the Stone Vertical series back in 12-12-12. And it was rejected because they had done too many Belgian quads in a row. So he put that on the back burner, and I think it was 12-12, and essentially they came out with it as a stochasticity project because the recipe was so good, so they just sort of put that on the back burner, and then they released it a few years later. But it's Mitch that you're
So what
drinking
you're
right
saying
now.
is I need to send him an email.
Yeah, send him an email and say thank you so much, and then inside is a
Dear
little.
Mitch, thank you. Please let me have your children. Whoa! Who did that?
So
Very
oh,
nice.
so that's a little bright, isn't it? Let me see if I can
Yeah, but
turn.
I saw the signatures, or I saw
Yeah,
the.
I don't know why
Did
that's
he
so
write?
bright. It's probably
You're
just
giving me my biggest pal, my
Yeah, all right.
My number one fan.
There you go. I don't know if you can read that. So bright.
This is blown out.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes. To Jeremy, my number one fan. I want to have. Oh nope, it says something else. Great, great to heart you.
Great to meet
I
you.
love Kalamu.
Yeah, let me see if I can get it down that way. Great to meet you at Kalamazoo Beer Exchange. Cheers, Mitch Steele.
Ah,
So
very.
the irony is, I did not meet him, and I did not go to the beer exchange because I couldn't go. We had some other commitment. So I told my assistant at work that he should check it out because he's also a beer fanatic. And so he went and he told the people that his name was Jeremy.
Ah,
And then he had Mitch Steele sign the book to Jeremy
very nice.
because
So,
I had asked him to pick me up the book, and if he could have it signed, that'd be awesome.
so your assistant's getting a raise.
Yeah. So essentially, it's a right now it's a historical examination of the IPA style, and then later on it's brewing sort of instructions, and then at the very end there are quite a few recipes. So
Something to
uh,
try out in
among them,
future.
yeah, among them is the Stone Pale Ale. So
Good choice.
yeah, may try to emulate some of that, or the Stone IPA, I think. Um, but I have to figure out like how to do that in the Mr. Beer kit, So I think it's actually going to be brewing a smaller batch and figuring out the math and all that stuff.
I think
So
we need to get you set up on a larger system here.
I
I think
well,
I think you're due.
the problem is, as we've talked about before, is that I really enjoy doing the weird stuff,
Right.
and I can drink the little 3 gallon or whatever it is keggers. That's easily gone through.
Right.
But if you're gonna brew a big 5 gallon or whatever it is, carboy full of this stuff, it's gonna be much more difficult to rotate and distribute this kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. Even though I would like to sort of venture into that and figure that out. By the same token, I really enjoy doing this. So
Could always open up a brewery.
yes, what would the name of that brewery be?
Oh man, I forgot.
I got.
Wah, wah.
I forgot. Well, maybe it's best we keep it under wraps for now. Just
Oh man. So
concept.
okay, so we have your. How many Randalls are we doing? Like four Randalls.
Easily. Yeah. Well,
At
you gotta
least.
do all this stuff, but then
But then we'll have our. Yeah, like that's the thing I love about Fremont, which I've not been down there frequently enough, but they have consistently 4 Randalls going. So you always have some kind of different beer to try from them, which is constantly bringing new business to them, clearly. So
very cool.
plus they're awesome. They're an awesome brewery. So I mean, I need to get a little closer to Fremont, but my new digs are only a couple miles, so.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think they're eventually. No, everything in this part of like when you're in downtown, the main metro is about 3 miles wide, so I can hit Capitol Hill, Fremont, Wallingford, all my old haunts.
Yeah.
Within a mile almost. So.
Do you have a bike?
I don't have a bike, but Ballard has 3 or 4 breweries plus. I think they have 5 or 6 different places that only serve different microbrews, like not just your standards, because there's a lot of bars in Seattle that have like 5 or 6 standards of like Manny's Pale Ale, which is what I would say is your Two-Hearted.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost every bar serves it. It's a good beer, but so you have those people that go, oh yeah, I love microbrews. I love Manny's.
You're like, mm-hmm.
Okay. There's other beer out there, just so you know, but. I mean, we'll start with that. Like,
what would the 5 fingers say to the face?
Show me my money.
Well, you should get a bike. I mean, if you know that 2 miles away is something, and you don't want to walk,
right?
35 minutes, then
it's on the list. Okay, so Bevmo.
A unicycle.
I missed two buses today to get down, like to go down to Bevmo and to come back from Bevmo. It literally took me, I think, 35 minutes to walk to and from Bevmo. So, I mean, my
That's
beer
good.
connection's right there. Yeah, and
No
that's just
shit.
that's a specialty beer store. That's not a. Um,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
not a
know if Seattle know
microbrewery.
this, but Ballard is Northwest Market Street
Hmm.
has the most breweries and restaurants in almost any neighborhood in Seattle, like in the downtown area.
Do you guys have you got a Whole Foods around there somewhere, don't you?
We do. There's one on 15th Ave,
Because
which runs half of Seattle, really, but
yeah,
Whole Foods has
they
a lot.
serve beer, right? A lot of those Whole Foods actually have a bar right up front.
Plus, there's a couple. There's what's it called? The Tin Hat, I think, has 20 some odd microbrews.
Don't you have a Hopcat yet?
Yeah, well, it's I guess the Tin Hat is a kind of hopcat kind of place.
110 beers,
Yeah, 110.
You wonder how they get through all those taps,
I know,
all those
right?
kegs. It's
Mm.
crazy.
Okay. Few. I wrote down some notes actually. I was
Mm.
prepared because we had a kind of as I moved and a couple snafus. We were off for a couple weeks.
Hmm.
So I actually wrote down some notes for today.
Sweet.
I finally got my hands on World War Z
The movie?
because it's on Amazon and Netflix.
Yep, it just came out. I
But I
saw
did
it for
not
free.
watch the uncut version because I didn't realize it was uncut on Netflix and not uncut on Amazon. So I watched it on Amazon, which I might go and watch the uncut version and see what I missed out on. Overall thoughts, I would say out of 10, probably a 6 or a 7. It's not bad. Everyone said it was a lot worse than it was. Like,
Yeah.
I think they were expecting the next big zombie movie that was just full of blood and gore, and they were looking for that really commercialized. That next, what came out um, with
Resident
Woody
Evil or
Harrelson,
oh
and
yeah, Zombieland.
yeah, they're looking for their next big Zombieland. But
Yeah.
World War Z was a completely different theme altogether. If you've even read the book, which that's a whole different story. But
Yeah. But
um,
but fast zombies, and they,
yeah,
they come right out. They come right out and say it's zombies.
right.
So and how about the guy who trips and falls going into the landing of the
Right.
the plane? I mean, come on, really?
That was just
Really?
yeah. That was a little bit over the top. That was very much so.
Oh my
We really
God.
want Brad Pitt to be this person, so we can't think of any other way than to kill off this person who's supposed to be Brad Pitt in like 5 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
how much airtime did he have in the entire film? 3 minutes.
Yeah, not
They
much at
showed him in the
all.
background where he didn't even talk to the camera, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, he's the world's best hope." World's best hope trips and falls on the plane landing and just is gone. You're like, okay.
Yeah. No, you're like,
That
what?
was a bit goofy. I think that was the goofiest part of World War Z. Outside of that, it was a nice. Trying to remember what movie it reminded me of.
Well, sort of the pacing's pretty decent. But you're right. It's just kind of overly produced, and
Yeah, but I
fast
liked
zombies are a minus. That's just
always.
not good.
But I did like the pacing as far as like the survival aspect of the film.
Right.
Like, I did like that it was kind of slow. Like it had a lot of tension, which was great, but it was
Mhm.
still slow enough to kind of keep you like kind of reined in a little bit.
Just the logic fell
Yeah,
apart. Like the characters acted really dumb, and the decisions that the leaders made were just really
we're a little bit goofy.
really bad, really bad. And
Then
yeah,
you have Brad Pitt sitting there when he goes into the room with that spoiler. If you guys haven't seen it yet, that
yeah,
doesn't at
yeah.
this point. Spoiler. So you are at what's the Center for Disease Control, and we're going to pick from two boxes, one of which holds all the world's deadliest diseases that will kill you in like 5 minutes. And you pick out 40 bottles. Oh nope, the first two are fine, no big deal. And now the zombie cure is over. Like
Yep. That's good odds, right? I
yeah,
mean, really.
yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
it was a little too happy ending for me, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, in a bad way, of course, for happy
In a
endings, but
horrible way, yes. You want everybody die and be ripped apart. And
Do you check out The Returned yet?
no, that's the series, right?
No, not the series. There's actually a series of the kids who come back that were kidnapped or something. The kids
Um,
return, which is a Spanish series, right? And then they made an American version of it. Is all with the return?
well, there was a French version of
Or sorry,
the
French version,
yeah
right?
French version of the people who came back from the dead or whatever.
Well, they came back from a. Did they say it was from the dead, or did they say it was like
Yeah,
the?
well, you sort of figure that out. Like
Okay,
it's they,
right,
but because everybody knows the original French series,
right.
essentially they've returned from the dead, and they're not quite sure what's happened, and they sort of figure it out over the course of time. I have not seen it yet. It's in my queue, um, and we've been watching a lot more streaming because of our basement flood, um, and so we don't have DVDs right now. We just have our upstairs TV, just sort of out of choice until our construction's done downstairs. But so we've been watching a lot more. We're still plowing through Orange is the New Black.
Oh, I need to
We
do that
finished
yet.
up
I'm trying
Sherlock.
to.
We finished up Derek. Um,
It's
last
about
night we
time.
watched a little movie called Everything Is Awesome.
How did you like it?
I thought it was great. I thought
Say
it
you
only
loved
got
it.
better. It only got
Like,
better as it went.
I'm
So
glad you liked it because I saw that in theaters like the second week it came out,
yeah.
and the girl I was dating at the time pulled out her phone like 3 or 4 times, which
Oh yeah. Well,
is awful.
I gave Juliet a choice and said, let's watch this, the Lego movie, or let's watch this other thing. And she's like, that's the choice, and she was like, well, let's go Lego. So I got Lego. It was cheap, and
It's
and
amazing.
it took a little bit of
It did.
entry into it, and I'd say about the halfway point is where I could tell like she bought in a little bit, and then it got better and better and better, and it was kind of like, okay, this is good, and it was funny because what I've read about it was basically it's in jokes and all these sort of in jokes, and that was a small part of it, but I think the writing was so funny,
It
like
was subtle
the
almost.
Morgan
Like
Freeman character was hilarious.
yes.
Like the master builder, or not master builder, but one of the builder guys. And he was just so good. It was what did he say at the end there? He was like uh, you know before you interrupted me, or yeah, what was that? Before you interrupted me, and then I died,
And then it came back.
and then I came back.
But
Yeah,
it comes back as the ghost, and
it's
the
so
Lego
funny.
ghost.
Yeah.
You're just
Oh, with the
solid.
string attached. The string
Yeah,
attached. I'm laughing my ass off. It's so funny.
I did too. When I saw that in theaters, I was laughing far more than my friend I was with, and it was purely because as a I was born in '85. Legos were definitely a major part of my development. So when you see those little things pulled out where they go from Ghost version to, or they go from like Wizard to classic Ghosts,
Yeah, yeah.
just, I just cracked up. I was done. I was
That
done.
was
Like,
great.
okay,
I think
can't
his
top this.
his character was the best part of it. That was pretty enjoyable.
Well, in the writing, I felt it was a lot like you saw Wally, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very it was definitely making a message and a point, but it
Hmm.
was wrapped up in Disney's
Yes, I agree. It was
like.
exactly the
So
same
you have
sort
that
of.
culture where it's like all these people are, just on this vacation and they've gained all this weight and they've regressed into like their bones are so tiny now and it's all just fat and everything.
And
And then
here's your $42 coffee.
right. Yeah, that's awesome. Like that'll be $37.
Huh,
Great.
awesome. Yeah, that was good. I,
And
I,
how
I like that.
the book how make everybody like you. Like
Yeah.
step one, shower. And the animation effects honestly
Oh, cool. Yeah,
were
they were
pretty solid
amazing.
too. Like when
And
they
you only got
did
better.
the
Yeah.
They did the fire, which was awesome. They did like the soap and bubbles. Like
Hmm.
they got really crafty, like nitty gritty crafty with that movie. So you kind of
Yep.
had to respect that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a lot. It was fun.
What else did you watch?
Oh, I haven't. We've been. Let's see here. The
That
Orange is
was
the
Orange
New
Is the New
Black.
Black. Don't actually tell
Yeah.
me spoilers, but
No, it's good. It's as good as the first season. Um, there's a lot of nudity.
sorry, what?
So that part of it's pretty awesome. But it's fun, and I kind of think I know where we only have I think 2 or 3 episodes left, and I think I know where it's going to end up. Um, but it's good.
I'm hearing they've really expanded what I would call the French way of actually making a film is expanding all of the characters' backstories, kind of like they did in the first series of Orange. Like the first, one of the first things I love about Orange is the New Black is the fact that they actually showed where everybody came from. So you weren't necessarily attached to Piper. Like you wanted to be attached to Crazy Eyes. Like why Crazy Eyes was crazy, why this person was crazy,
Yeah.
and they actually show where they all came from. And I'm hearing the second season is built entirely upon that.
It is, and that kind of bothers me a little bit because I think that goes a little bit of that goes a long way, and I also think of it as the Lost method because if you remember in the Lost season 8 or wherever the heck it was, they started doing that, right? They started going back and
You feel like it's a cop out, like a.
at first I did. But the big thing is it's starting to become integral, I think, in the current plot. And that happens in about episode 7 or 8 of the season. So then you're kind of like, okay, I need to forgive that sort of thing because there's a point to it. And so
right, which a lot of series don't do. They might include the backstory, but they might just throw it in there to actually make filler episodes, which we know how many TV series we just need to throw in a couple of extra episodes to kind of go. We need to make 20 episodes this season.
Yeah.
How can we actually make this broader?
Kind of, yeah, I agree, and that's what made me think of Lost because Lost,
right.
Lost.
It just kept on going.
Yeah, it just kept on going, and it's like
you just
really?
wanted to end after like 2 seasons of awesomeness instead of 8 seasons of.
Yeah, where's the invisible polar bears? Come on, bring back those guys. They were awesome.
They were actually amusing to watch. It's like when you have characters killed off or sent off in the first or second season, and the season goes on for like 9 seasons, and you're like, I really just wish they brought back the same people from the first and second season. So.
Yeah, it's like where'd so and so go? He die or something? What's going on?
Wait, how would this work like a bad soap opera?
My list. I'm just checking my list here to see like what else I recently.
Oh, but The Returned I watched is actually a movie. It's not a TV series. And it's on the same premise of they find a cure that it's a temporary cure that they have to take every 24 hours to keep them from. So basically, you get bit or you get blood transfer, however.
Right.
And if this happens, they have a vaccine, well, not a vaccine, but it's a. Basically, it takes the onset of full zombieism and it stalls it. For 24 hours. So you have to take these shots every 24 hours.
Okay.
And the idea of this whole movie is the only way to get this serum is to actually get it from the living dead. But since they're converting all of these people that would have been the living dead into just living people, the supply is quickly getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But since you have a 24-hour window, it's making the world crazier because all these people are like, I need to get this, and there's not enough, supply and demand kind of thing. So it's how far will you go to help out the person who has been returned, because after 36 hours, you're a zombie forever, apparently. So,
apparently.
Yeah, like this is how it works out in the movie is, so as long as you get this shot within like 24 hours of being bit or something, you won't turn into a zombie. But after 36 hours of not having the shot, you turn into a zombie. I just started noticing things floating above my head, and that you were typing. So zombie.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, too funny. Oh.
By the way, don't let kids play with Google Draw, apparently.
Exactly, yeah, this is too much fun.
You're starting to look like Star Trek. What's his name?
Yeah, right? Jordy? Am I Jordy?
Jordy? I can get out of these things. Oh man, I just turned into Polly Shore from Jury Duty. That's
Really?
embarrassing.
That is kind of
I'm
embarrassing.
gonna trash that now. There we go. That's embarrassing. That just happened. Hey, go Vikings.
Hey, hey. All right, Thor. No, you're like Helmdall, right? Is that it? Isn't that the
I
Guardian?
have two poses: the Thinker
Here, I'll be
and.
South Park.
Well, there we go.
Hey guys.
It's a little big.
It is. I wish you could
Mine
resize
actually
them.
fits. Yours is kind of
How about
ridiculous.
that?
This actually looks believable.
All right.
I mean, I can't get around my big nose, but
Boink. And you're clean.
yoink! Oh
All right,
man.
buddy. Well, I gotta let you go because we're getting ready to head out to various things.
And I need to move on with my day, which means drinking more beer and drawing more stuff. So
Yes. That sounds like a good plan to
it
me.
does, and I think the Carpenters have actually left. Not the band.
The best is yet to
Not the
come.
Carpenters! Just turn it off, man!
That's awesome.
Well, that just made me think of Bill Paxton. We're all gonna die, man!
Roast
Game
toast,
over, dude!
dude. All right, brother. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day and say hi to all the bikers for me.
Will you? Adios,
Peace.
muchacho.